Today, I'm going to show you how to calculate the VWAP or volume weighted average price using SQL on QuestDB. If you are not familiar with VWAP and you don't know why it's an important metric for finance, please skip to the end of the video where I have a short intro, or just read the blog post I have linked on the description, and just come back when you want to see the SQL. I'm going to be running this demo using the demo instance of QuestDB, which is publicly available, and I'm going to leave the URL and the queries in the description of the video so you can reproduce it if you want. So the first thing we need is a table with some trades. In my case, on the demo instance, we have a table in which we are keeping track of a few tickers, a few symbols on real time. And as you can see here, at any particular second, I have multiple trades for different symbols. I'm checking data for yesterday. Typically, when you do the VWAP, you do VWAP from the beginning of the day until the end of the day. Can be the current day, can be yesterday. You can do it in other time frames, but the daily VWAP is typically the one you are going to be using. So in my case, I'm checking data from yesterday, and to make the explanation a bit easier, I'm going to be filtering only one symbol, but you can do it without any filters if you prefer. So as you can see, even for a single symbol, I have multiple trades on every second. Typically, when you calculate VWAP, you want to aggregate, you want to do the volume weighted average over a period of time. So in my case, I'm going to be sampling in 10 minutes intervals. So I'm using just QuestDB sample by a SQL extension. And what I'm doing is, for each 10 minutes interval, I'm going to be getting the sum of the amount, and this will be the volume, and the sum of the individual price times the amount, and that will be the trade value. VWAP is a cumulative metric. By cumulative, what I mean is that when you are calculating VWAP, you want to take for each row into consideration the values of all the rows that came before you. And for working with cumulative values in QuestDB, we have window functions. The first part of my query is exactly the one I had before. I'm just sampling the data in 10 minutes intervals, as we see here in the results. And then, on top of that, I'm going to be adding the cumulative sum. To do that, we use what we call window functions. A window function, you can recognize it on QuestDB or on any other standard SQL database because we use the over keyword. So basically here what I'm doing is, out of this 10-minute sample interval, I'm going to be getting for each row, I'm going to be getting the traded value, but also the sum of all the traded values over all the rows before me, ordered by timestamp. And I'm going to do the same with the volume. So right now, all I have is a running total or a cumulative sum for the volumes and for the trade value of all the trades in 10 minutes intervals. That's not the VWAP, but we are very close, because actually, to calculate the VWAP, all I have to do is divide the cumulative value between the cumulative volume. What I'm getting is, for each 10 minutes interval, I have, which is the volume weighted average, which is basically an average in which we are taking into consideration the volume of the operation. And as I told you earlier, if you want, we can add here all the symbols. We can just remove the filter by symbol. We can add the symbol here, and we could be calculating the VWAP over the day for all the different symbols. And as you can see now, I have more rows because for each 10 minutes interval, I have one result for each of the symbols that I'm tracking. Something I want to show you as an extra ball is what happens if you don't have a table with the individual trades, but you have a candle, you have a table which is giving you the data already pre-aggregated. Since the data is already sampled, I don't have to sample again because it's already in 10 minutes intervals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the sum of the volume, but for the price, since I have the open, close, high and low, I don't really have the real trading price. I'm going to go with the typical price, which basically you get by adding the low and the high and the close and dividing by 3. And as you can see, even if you have data which is already on candlesticks, is already on open, high, low, close, already aggregated, you can still calculate VWAP. And actually, I should say, these results are very similar to the ones we had already. And that's it. That's how you calculate VWAP using SQL. If you are not familiar with VWAP or the volume weighted average price, it is a financial tool, an analysis tool, which is used to calculate a moving average, but taking the volume into consideration. When you are doing a moving average, you will just take the price and how many trades you have, and you will divide using a window function in SQL. But the VWAP, it adds the dimension of the volume, so it helps smooth the curve, and it helps traders analyze trends. They can see if trades are moving up or down during the day and when the trend is changing. And it also allows to have a benchmark. If you are calculating VWAP for the day before, and then you are going to be trading during the day and you are slicing your trade orders in multiple parts of the day, you can compare how your trades are doing today using VWAP to how they were doing yesterday, so you can see if you are doing good or bad trades. So now you can go back to the part of the video where we have the SQL to calculate VWAP, and maybe you can go to the demo machine, the URL, remember it's in the description of the video, and just execute the queries to see how QuestDB performs when calculating VWAP over a large amount of data. Thank you and have a good day.